Wow, welcome back everyone to the Triforce podcast. Oh,
unbelievable. We live in a world where people allow other people to shit in their house. But listen, guys, I have a new one for you. I got a new topic further on from that last week's topic. I would like to present to you this topic.
Oh, I love that. That was a great show last week.
How do you guys feel about you having somebody visit you and they stay at your house, like sleep at your house and like shower and they live at your house for like a week or whatever. They come over.
Who is it?
Let's just say, let's say your parents. Your parents are are in town. They're visiting. What's your knee jerk reaction? Is it, yeah, you guys can stay with me, or is it, yeah, you guys better find a hotel, like
my mum always stays with us. She's come up, I'd say 4 or 5 times a year for the last 11 years.
Sure.
Because she's on her own. So if the last time my parents were in the same room was in my wedding at 2001.
Right. Okay.
And my stepmother was there as well.
Right.
So that was kind of awkward.
Okay, what about your dad and your stepmom? Would they stay if they came over?
No, whenever they come over, they stay in a hotel.
Right, okay. And if they couldn't stay in a hotel for some reason?
What, then would I let them stay?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's a blizzard. It's a blizzard outside. The car's broken down. They need to use the phone.
You wouldn't try to like say to them like, maybe it's not a good idea to come over. You know, like maybe we'll come to you instead.
For a start, they would have flown over from Florida. And I'm just like, well, I guess you guys better find a flight back. There's nowhere to stay. No, of course I'd let them stay.
What about
room at the inn?
What about a friend who?
But the stable is free.
How about a friend who is married and has 2 kids and they're in town and they're like,
so 4 of them.
Where are we going to stay? And then you're like, come stay at my house.
We have had a couple with 2 kids of their own stay at our house. Yes.
Right. Okay. I just want to see where we're at with all this.
Period Flax's family lay down in the manger and took a shit because the toilet, we wanted out inside to use the toilet.
I just want to point out, I'm not the unusual one in this conversation who
I know you're not.
Hates anybody coming to their house, staying, using their toilet, who wants to live this unbelievably
philosophy
secret life. That's not most people.
I love someone coming around and staying. I love it, but I don't like it for more than like a day.
Okay.
And so
after a while it gets a little tedious, of course, but it's still a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it's sort of my McDonald's chair philosophy of what I want to make it comfortable, but not that comfortable that they don't want to stay more than a day either, right? So I have a sofa bed. And but they're sleeping downstairs, kind of in the lounge, so it's not necessarily like. I mean, there's not like a dedicated guest room. I used to have one, but people would just stay for too long. It's weird.
I need to say though, in North America, this is a very common thing, as far as I know. Like staying with people or having people stay with you. Like people come to visit from out of town or whatever. And you've got space, you put them up. Or likewise, like when I was a kid, we stayed at people's houses.
It's great.
They had kids and stuff like that, and vice versa. People would stay. But now that I'm an adult with my own house and stuff, I don't really want people staying at my house, like unless it's absolutely necessary. You know what I mean?
I can see it being like this European, Mediterranean, wonderful thing, right? Where everyone gets together and has a nice time. But I think it always just throws off my rhythm a bit. We always go to bed either a bit too early or too late, and then you realize you're not. Oh, I can't go downstairs and get water.
Yeah,
so I wake
and
them
everybody's
up,
got to use the same showering facilities and stuff.
And in the morning, it's like get up early, they're banging around. And you're like, God, what fucking time is it? 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! And then you get up and you're like, oh, hello, in the dressing gown.
I'm not mad about it. Like at a push, I would do it. I'm not saying I would deny somebody out of sheer principle or whatever.
I like it,
but
it's
I would try to like.
Different.
I would actually go as far to say as I will pay for you to stay in a hotel so that you don't have to stay at my house. I would go that far.
So I do that with certain people, like certain people that I don't like. Like I don't want to say girlfriend's family, but girlfriend's family.
Right.
Like, it's got to be like, it's a thing where they're just annoying and it's just easier for me not to have to worry about it. And also that does ensure that they only stay a day as well. Because if they're paying for a hotel, they feel like, I don't want to make him pay for a hotel for more than a couple of days or whatever. Or usually they offer to pay it for themselves, actually. I don't tend to have to pay for those hotels.
No, I've never had to pay for somebody to stay.
I don't think I'm willing to. But I don't think I've ever actually had to pay.
I'm willing to do it. if somebody's like really strapped and they can't do it, and it means that I don't have to like host them or whatever, I would do it.
I mean, I've had a bunch of random people stay at my house when they've locked themselves out, or they've had some leak, or they've had something go wrong, or they've had an argument with their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Or my mum's had an argument. My dad had came down one time, just like turned up and was like, "I've had an argument with your dad. You're gonna have to put me up for a couple of days." So I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
Right.
That's a pretty bad one, isn't it?
You know what? I haven't had that with like a family member, but I've had a friend had a big argument with her partner, and he drove her here so she could stay with us for a week while they sorted their shit out. And I thought, that's nice of him. You know, I'm kind of assuming it's not that bad, but
it's very self-aware of the issues and stuff, and you just need a break.
They were obviously under a lot of stress at that time, and obviously I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but they've sorted it out.
If you're listening, she was fine the whole time.
You know who you are.
I didn't touch her the whole time. I promise, Joe.
She touched me, Joe, but I didn't touch her.
She touched
I just
me
lay
in
back and let it
places
happen,
I never thought anyone would ever touch me, Joe. Fuck.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, obviously, these are. I'm not saying that when I have someone I don't really know very well stay, it's immediately comfortable and I'm some kind of relaxed, you know, like you said, some Mediterranean. Of course, you will come and stay at the house.
Yeah.
You know, that's not me.
No,
because that's not most people. But at the same time, if people are going to stay, they're going to stay. Like, you know, if they've got no choice
okay, so, but ideally, would you have somebody stay with you? Like, I would say ideally.
It depends who it is. There are some people I mean, my mum comes up to stay. I love that.
Sure. That's different. That is different.
If it's someone I don't really know, then it is kind of awkward.
If your mom and dad were together, though, would you want them both staying at your house? Like, I would say I would have just my mom, no problem, because she would like help with the kids, whatever. But I don't want my mom and dad staying. Like,
if my
two
parents
of them
were still together,
are hard work.
I mean, I've had my in-laws up to stay.
Yeah,
you know, Mrs. F's parents,
sure.
And I just hide upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's understandable. But like, no, I just like. I also want to say about last week with the whole toilet thing and everything. It's different for me. I live in a place where everybody lives close by.
Here comes the backtrack.
Okay, so from my point of view, if somebody's shitting at my house, there's
to justify
absolutely no reason for them to be doing this, because
we're on side.
They live at least 10 minutes away from home, no matter where they are on the island.
You can't caveat it like that. You were blanket no. Doesn't matter who, you're not doing it.
Well, ideally it's a no matter what. But I understand. Like, I'm not like fucking
stand your ground, dude.
And didn't you grow up in the wilds of Canada where it's 20 miles to the nearest house?
You stand on the border of your property with that Magnum or shotgun or whatever they use in Canada.
It's not as bad as that.
You say no pooping.
It's not as bad as that. People are saying that I'm crazy. I'm not actually crazy. Not in that way.
Yeah, we're all a little crazy.
In bed I am, obviously. But when it comes to people pooping in my toilet and stuff, obviously, if somebody's got to go, it can't be helped. Like, I'm not going to fucking kick them out of my house.
A flip-flop of Boris Johnson proportions.
Are you running for president, Tips? Is this it? Is this what you're trying to do? You're trying to recover your...
What do I say here? What do I need to say? Okay, thank you. Okay. No, I have no desire at this moment to commit to anything. Really?
Yeah, good. So this week, and over the last week, I've been doing something new, right? Which is new for me, but I assume not new for the Yogscast. That is reaching out to people to ask if they will help with the Jingle Jam.
Right.
And the only experience that I can possibly compare this to is me going on dating sites.
Right.
Okay. Because I'm a nice guy.
Because they've all said no.
Do you know what, Lewis? Fuck it.
That's it.
Fucking sack it. If it's that difficult and people don't want to do it, just sack it off. Who fucking cares? It's their tough shit, isn't it? Like, how much money have you made for charity over the years with all this? How much exposure have you given to people and stuff? Yeah, fuck them. If they don't want it, fuck them. It's their problem. They could go find the latest fucking 10-year-old screaming blue-haired streamer to buddy up with and just see how that goes. That's fine. We're like we're established. I don't know why this is such a difficult thing. Like,
it's funny, really.
We've been doing it for like 10 years.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's time to let some of the rest of us try and see what the issues are. I think that might help. Because I have no idea. Like, I always imagined...
I'm picturing the time that they let Father Dougal do the mass, and the hearse was on fire, and everybody's crying. That's not...
I think you're... Let's look at this as an analogy, okay? I'm an attractive middle-aged man, okay? Obviously, Am I putting myself in your shoes, or are you putting me in a mystical? No, imagine I'm the Jingle Jam. Okay, the Jingle Jam's been going for a while. Okay, it's middle aged. Okay,
yeah,
it's had some fairly average girlfriends in the past. Okay, and you can see that, right? You know that it's not ever dated anyone super hot.
And it had that one really good girlfriend though.
It did have a really hot girlfriend at one time, and that girlfriend said that being with that guy was great. They had a great time, and it worked out great for them. Okay, it was never a bad problem. The guy was great. The girl went on to do great things. Okay,
right.
It was not a problem, negative experience, and none of this guy's previous girlfriends, however good looking they are, right, have ever reported a problem. In fact, a lot of those girls have tried to get back with the guy,
right,
in later years, and the guy's been like, nah, I don't think I want to go back there, but thank you, right? Maybe. So he's not pushed it out the window, right? And no one's had a bad time.
What are we talking about here?
This analogy's going really weird.
No, I am on
fucking
board.
Lost. Like,
well, then we represent the two halves of the audience. Okay,
Jesus.
that's good. Wait. I just thought of something. We need to explain what this all means. So in case there's people listening who maybe don't know what the Jingle Jam or the Humble Bundle is, the Jingle Jam is an annual month-long charity fundraising series of streams that the Yogscast do.
Yeah.
And the Humble Bundle is a pack of games that you essentially purchase with a charitable donation. Those games, you get all of them, and the money goes to the charity fundraiser that is the Jingle Jam. That's just so you guys understand where we're coming from with all this.
Was that a train in the background?
Yes, that was a train.
Holy crap. What was that?
The train is now arriving.
Yeah, that noise. You hear it quite often.
It's like very iconic British train.
Where is this going? And what are we even talking about right now?
I'm dating.
Right.
I'm going out there, emailing people, saying, hey, are you interested in hanging out?
Right.
This year, okay, for Jingle Jam. And they're broadly into like the categories of like it was on Tinder, right? I would swipe up on everyone because that's what I do, right? You're a guy, you swipe up on everyone, you just see what comes back, okay?
Right.
Obviously, the top tier, who you don't stand a chance with, Death Stranding, like she's gorgeous, but and it would break you if you went with her as well, right? It wouldn't work, okay? Because you'd know there was a problem.
Wait,
she's
is this
just
still about
too good looking?
Jingle Jam?
Yes, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So no, but like for example, like we can't have partners who are too new and successful and things like that because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. We can't really have like I don't know 10, 50 quid games in the bundle that are like really, really good.
Right.
Because then we're selling the bundle for $30 and it kind of causes some problems with that. Because we'll run out of keys and it'll be sold out like in no time. We kind of have like this limited idea of what the bundle is. It's not really scalable. We aim to get between like $1 and $3 million, but we don't have a mechanism in place for going higher than that. And I've been trying to build that for years.
Right.
But we can't find the partners to do it with, really.
No.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. Anyway, it's incredibly complicated. But I then sort of so the people who come back to me are usually the people who understand that there's a lot of value in Jingle Jam, right? Like there's a lot, like this good guy here at the core. He's a man. He'll look after you. It's good. The analogy's gone weird again. But like a lot of people understand that Jingle Jam isn't a bad thing. It's like it's a good thing. It's positive for everyone. Everyone gets great things out of it. It's good for the audience. It's good for the devs. Sure, they have to give keys away.
I gotta say, when this analogy started, I was there. I was at the lakeside. I was getting my canoe off the truck. I was getting ready for the portage. Now I'm in fucking Timbuktu. Like, okay, I don't know what went wrong with this portage. It's like it's ruined.
Sorry. So like I basically, and then so there's all these people who understand. I don't want to go into too deeply, but I'm talking to all these people who sort of understand that Jingle Jam's worth it, but they can't push it through within their own organization, right? So maybe they show a picture of me to their sister or their advisor, and they're like, "Oh, that guy looks like a serial killer,
right?
He's gonna murder you," you know. And so, like, I have a thing. I look a bit like a serial killer, maybe, or an axe murderer. You know, just there's no reason for it.
So are we saying that this is the reason why you're struggling to get the Jingle Jam going this year? Because you look like a serial killer? I mean, if you got a haircut, that would help.
It's because devs are terrified of giving away all these keys, right?
Right.
And obviously, you know, it's not really a problem. We've never really seen reselling of keys. We've never really seen any sales impacts from that. Like, it's never been a problem, but it looks like a problem. It's like a red flag that people are terrified of.
Right.
And so that is something which we obviously have to like try and almost like come out straight away and be like, hey, I know I look like a serial killer, and I'm holding an axe, but I've never killed anyone.
Right.
I promise. Here's some past evidence that I've never killed anyone. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I've never been charged. So that's that. And then there's the lower tier of people who are just kind of
frothing at the mouth
for anything.
Yeah.
Who are like, I can't wait to be. I can't wait to.
I can't wait for all the money to roll in. Yeah.
In fact, can you date my 75-year-old gran?
I can't wait to see my bank balance skyrocket off the back of all this exposure. Yeah, I understand that as well.
And can you date my 65-year-old aunt? So yeah, so and it's very hard for me then to turn down all of these ostensibly Tinder dates who are like. Who are like have got a picture of a hot 25-year-old, but are actually setting up the profile for their single 45-year-old mum or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
So, in summary, we're struggling to get Humble Bundle things this year. Is that the...
No, we're not. I think it's going fine, but I've just sort of sent out the first wave of stuff.
Right.
I think it'll be great, actually.
Okay,
but
that's the opposite of what I thought this was going to
I thought this was like a doom and gloom story, but it sounds like it's all fine.
Well, but the thing is, like, we don't need, like... everyone, you know, I've hit up like 100 people,
right?
Do you know what I mean? And I've found like 10 or 15 who are great, so it'll be fine. And I think it'll be a really good bundle this year, actually, because I'm running it for the first time rather than everyone else. So in fact, it might well be fucking amazing and way better than previous years. So that's what I'm currently brimming with confidence. But yesterday, I was the opposite. Do you know what I mean? And then tomorrow, I'll probably be again completely bipolar and miserable.
So now I understand the analogy. So you have a good date one day and a bad date next week. One day you're getting lots of responses, another day you're not. So you're up and down. Your mood is swinging.
And it's also so frustrating because what happens is somebody makes a promise to me. You know, like last year, a big games company who I'm not going to name promised me a game. And we were like, oh, that would be amazing. And he was like, yep, definitely we'll get it. It's all going to be sorted. And we were like, fantastic. That's so nice. Amazing. Thank you. And we did loads of stuff for them. We did loads of work. We went, we had our hair done. We took their mum to the hospital. We cleaned their house. We did loads of stuff for them, right? As like a thank you for going on a date with us. Because that's totally how it works, right? And then they were like, oh no, about that date.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to.
It's not you. It's me.
I don't know how anybody has the patience to do any of this shit dealing with game companies and stuff. Just the fucking pits.
And then the other one is that the biggest thing is that it's nice people at these companies who can't push it through.
Well, yeah, because they're lower down people. Because it all comes to you having to speak to the right person or know the right person.
If I talk to someone, I can convince them that Jingle Jam's a good thing and it's in their incentive to do it, but. They then have to do that to their boss.
Yeah.
And they can usually do that, but then their boss has to then convince their boss.
Yeah.
And that is usually when
it's a pecking order.
By that point,
it's a bit like handing a
yeah.
glass of water and saying this needs to get all the way to the end. And you know, your motivation to hand that water further and further down the line without taking a sip or spilling some is lost. And by the time you come to the upper boss, you got a guy who's not motivated handing over a thimbleful of water that's left in the glass to a guy who definitely doesn't care.
It looks like it's been sipped a lot.
Yeah. He's like, I don't care about this. Do you? Nah, not really.
No.
Okay, job done. Stamp, no. Like, that's it.
Well, I'd rather have that than they just don't reply at all at the bottom.
Yeah, no, that's true. But don't you think the not reply at all means that you've just given up on them? Whereas the people who do reply and say, oh, yeah, I'll try my best. Then you think, oh, cool, that's going to happen. And then it doesn't.
Hilariously, though, it's a little bit like what happens where I meet these people or multiple times per year sometimes. Like, I know these people really well. I've met them at various conventions that I go to throughout the year. They definitely know who I am, because we've had drinks together a few times, and I send them emails back and forth every time. And when I send them Jingle Jam email, no response. I do a follow-up, no response. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But sometimes these people feel like, certainly this is the sort of thing that happens, which me and Sip saw when we went to Valve. I don't want to really complain about Valve, but they have a very much pop your head up from the pack and you'll get whack-a-mole back down again. It's very much people don't want to.
Yeah, nobody wants to.
No one wants to be the target.
Nobody wants to do a standout thing to like bring attention to themselves, so, like in that way, sort of thing. Like I think people want to do something good where everybody's like, this guy has done this great thing or whatever, but nobody wants to like.
And I can completely understand.
Come up with an idea that might put them in a.
People want their security, and it's easier for them to just say, it's not worth the risk for me to try and make this a thing, because I think it feels like a risk for a lot of these companies, even though I was like yesterday, some guy replied saying like his 2.5-year-old game was too new for the Jingle Jam, and I was like we've had newer games than that 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? And I almost was rude, because I almost wrote like, the Jingle Jam might help rejuvenate your shitty dead game. but I was like, just, you know what? Fuck you. I don't care. Like, if you're not interested,
got some other way. He's got some other method in mind to revive his shitty dead game. So fine, leave him.
I'm just like, I like the game, but it is a bit
of a shitty dead game. Yeah.
It's a bit of a game that people have
take a look on
from.
Steam at any given moment, and you can find hundreds of games just like that.
Well, these are easy. Where's this on my dating pool, Sid?
Yeah. So, Lewis, I've got a question for you. Let's talk about the Tinder dating. How many Tinder dates with different people would you say you went on?
And I would also like to know, was there like a consistent theme across all the dates? Because you brought yourself to these dates, obviously. So like, I'm wondering, was there anything that recurred consistently where you thought like, hang on a second, like all of these women have figured out that I'm, kind of dumb or whatever, like, like, did you get any of that? Right. Or was it like,
let's do part one. How many Tinder dates would you say you went on? Because I know a friend of mine who used Tinder and went on a bunch of dates and never spoke about it, because I get, you don't want to say to everyone, I mean, first of all, why would you email your mates every time you have a Tinder date? It would be like, I guess it would be fairly constant updates and not very interesting. And I don't know what you're looking for, affirmation there or something, like that people are saying, go for it. Like, how many times can your friends say that? You know what I mean? Got another Tinder date with a new girl tonight. It's like, well, didn't you have 3 this week already and none of them worked out? At this point, it gets depressing. But I want to know, you're using Tinder. How many dates would you say you've been on with it? So, how many dates with different people?
You see that, this is like a politician's answer. You see the
Are you currently clasping your fist with just your thumb flat on top and pointing at me with that thumb?
I'm pointing at you.
Well, the real question here.
Can I speak?
The real question.
Can I speak? Can I speak, please?
I don't know if I read subreddit r/data is beautiful a lot, and they constantly do these. I don't know what they're called, but they're like sort of they look like fat wedgy charts that splodge out. So they're
sounds like the average Tinder date. Am I right, fellas? Hey?
Yeah, nice. I did like 1,000 job interviews, and then it sort of goes down into like rejected and accepted, and then interview, and then it breaks up again into like interview 1 and interview 2, and then eventually at the end they usually have like 1, and it's like new job. Do you know what I mean? So it's like from 1,000 to 1.
Are there like Tinder success stories? Like there's got to be, right?
Yeah, there's tons.
People have met on Tinder and they're together now and they're happy.
Yeah. Oh, there's some of them are fantastic. We've got a couple of couples in the office who met on Tinder, probably even 3 or 4 years ago now, and they're still going great.
Yeah. Okay.
So no, it's like
I know a bunch of people who had good relationships through Tinder.
Like still intact as well?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
My brother met his wife on online dating 12 30
I mean,
years
I
ago?
met my wife online. It wasn't a dating site, but like we met online and we've been fine. I
It's
think.
just a way of meeting people. There's a lot of stigma around it, but essentially it's just a way of making a first contact with someone who you otherwise wouldn't have had a means to
I just feel
meet.
like with Tinder, it sort of like adds like a gaming element to the whole thing.
Yes.
Which
that's kind of it's become a big social
Yeah.
thing, hasn't it? And quite a
It's a
sort
bit
of
more
modern
casual
thing.
focused as well, a bit more like short term kind of. Or at least it gives that impression, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want that to be the impression. But it is, like Hannibal Breast said, it's just an app where you use it for geographical based sex. Like, that's it. It's like, are you in my proximity? Yes, you are. Then we shall meet up and have sex. That's what he saw Tinder as. And the Tinder people were like, no, it's not that. It's so much more. So I think it depends what
That's
you want to use
definitely more
it for.
Grindr.
Grindr?
Let's not go here again.
Okay.
But so like basically Tinder is well, so I think I don't know how many people I swiped up on. Let's say it must be
where does that
couple of thousand.
No, but how many actual sit down face to face dates
to that.
did you go on?
Oh well, sorry, not up. I mean, just swiped right, whatever it is. I can't remember.
This
It was
is
a while
why
ago.
it didn't work. You were swiping up.
Yeah.
I was swiping the wrong way. No, up is super light.
Did you
so that's
take
fine
any?
or whatever? Or at least it was.
Did you
I don't
take
know.
any women out for dinner? Like, was that a date? Like, did you go out for dinner? Did you eat?
No, never went out for dinner.
What
That
was it?
I
Like
don't-
drinks? You went out for a drink.
Coffee.
Coffee. All right. Okay.
So just to meet in like
A
Costa
public place, right.
Or
Was
Starbucks.
that? I feel like that would just be tremendously awkward. Like from the get go.
It's quite chill because you could do it at like lunchtime or like an evening. Like it's a low pressure thing. It doesn't take very long.
What's the
And-
measure on how well the date is going? The longer it lasts? Like if they like gulp their coffee down in like one gulp and they're like gotta go, like that you fucked up, right? Like that's,
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that is
would be a
actually
pretty
yeah.
And did
Yeah.
you do that to anybody? Did you ever meet somebody where you're like, fuck, I gotta chug this and get the fuck out of here like so fast?
No, not
No.
really.
Did you
But
ever make
I
an
knew-
excuse to leave and be like, oh gosh, that's work. I've got to go. I'll talk to you soon.
Oh god, my hemorrhoids are flaring. I gotta.
I
Gotta go.
guess I'm just interested
Gotta go
in
soak.
people generally. I quite enjoy meeting someone new, even if I'm not attracted to them, because everyone you meet has something interesting to say, and I feel like it's rude to kind of
I would love
give
it.
people an impression that
Yeah.
I didn't like.
I'd be
or whatever.
hopeless at that.
I
I
would
don't
love
even
it.
want to know about people really. Like I would ask them a question. I would just fucking zone out. And
But can't
stuff,
you
like-
imagine it? Except you'd see someone on the screen, you'd be like, they look nice and very pretty, and you'd swipe, and then there they are.
Yeah.
like you've magically summoned them, and then you can have a chat with them and maybe even stick your dick in them. Like that's pretty awesome. That would be
I don't
exciting.
know, man.
I'd
Like
love
I
that.
feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm like old school or like sheltered or like. I mean, I've only like I've been with my wife since like I was like in my late teens. You know
Same
what
here,
I mean?
dude.
So it's like.
This is why it's exciting to me, though, because it's like I've never lived this life.
Yeah, no, I look at it completely differently. I'm always very sort of like, oh, thank God I never had to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, thank God I've made it to the age I'm at now where I just don't even really care about it anymore. And that I didn't have to live through all these awkward moments like, and it's like I had girlfriends in school and stuff. That's different at school, right? Like you're
I mean,
in a
for one
class with
thing, you're all
somebody,
stuck
or
together,
like
right?
your peer group is like somehow like circle of friends at school. How they would like change around. Like sometimes people would join and leave, or like there'd be like crossover stuff. Like I remember like in the summer it always happened, right? Like you'd be out with your friends like as a teenager, like at a skate park or something. And you would just start hanging out with another group of people. Like oftentimes it was like other girls or whatever. And then that's your whole summer would be just like, we just hung out with this other group of like random people that we'd never hung out with before. And like maybe that didn't survive into like the next school year or whatever, but it was just like fun for the summer, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like that kind of worked because everybody was in the same boat, like, I don't know. It just feels like with online dating and stuff, I can't get my head around it. I can't imagine ever doing it or enjoying it, or like I just feel like I'd be so fucking awkward, and I would find the whole thing just really awful. Like I'm glad I never had to do it.
I think that it is not something that you go into blind Do you know what I mean? You often talk to people and get to know them a bit before you meet them. And so when you do meet them, it's not awkward like what happened with your wife. I'm sure the first time you met your wife, it was awkward for 30 seconds or a minute. Like when you meet
it was weird though, because
internet,
we'd spoken so much leading up to meeting up.
Exactly.
Because we had to geographically. We were so far away. Like we'd spoken on the phone, like, countless times, emails, like everything, you know what I mean? Like we had like a really good rapport. So when we first met, for like a split second, it was a bit awkward, but then it was just fine, because like we kind of knew each other, so it wasn't too bad. But with online dating, like Tinder and stuff, I don't know if you really get that, right? You just like you get a glimpse of somebody, and then all of a sudden, like Flack said, you're just face to face with them. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, it depends.
I think I'd fuck it up every time. Like, I'd say something stupid or whatever.
It would vary for me. Like whether they would. A lot of people I spoke to just wanted to chat for ages. They almost like every time. Some people I would mention, we should get coffee, or we should exchange numbers, and that would be like it for them. That would be too scary, and they would be like, no. And then that would be after we chatted. Sometimes that everyone's different, right? And everyone wants something different out of it, and everyone's differently attracted to you, or feels like they have a different speed to go at, and some people never want to meet up. They just want to chat forever and be this sort of pen pal, or like a cyber chat, or a fantasy, or because maybe they're not real, maybe they are, but maybe they are scared. There's 100 reasons you can't tell through chat, back and forth, especially when you're trying to, like, I don't know, you're trying to be funny and flirty, and this sort of it's kind of really odd. It is weird. It's kind of, I don't know, you're behaving in a sort of slightly odd, off way, and until you get over that and just, I mean, you just have to try and be normal, I guess, and just be friendly. But at least I think so. I don't know. I'm not playing the game though. Maybe I wasn't playing the game right, because I didn't really end up meeting very many people in reality, and of those, they didn't really lead to anything.
That's probably for the.
Did you ever meet one like a woman while you were doing this, or man, I don't know, where you went to have a coffee, and they were really soft spoken, really nice, and everything, and then one thing led to another, and you ended up back at this woman's apartment for more coffee, even though you just had a bunch of coffee, and then all of a sudden she turned into like some sort of woman devil, and she's like, I'm gonna eat your fucking cock, bitch, and like it chased you around the apartment. Did that ever happen?
And I had the biggest boner. God, I would love it if a woman
and you were like, no,
it'd be amazing.
Not my cock, please. You're running away.
Isn't that the ideal
You're wearing
outcome?
like socks, like male sock suspenders. Like she managed to like fucking burn your trousers off and stuff. No, please. Leave my cock out of this.
Weirdly, I think I had more success talking about Tinder and my experiences on it to other women that I'd met in real life.
Right.
Like I'd go to we were on holiday in, I think, Vancouver or somewhere, and I was chatting to these really nice people, chatting up ladies. I don't know. I feel like I got into better conversations and got further along in terms of actually someone who I might want to have a relationship with someone that I just met randomly in real life.
Yeah. But you had a cornerstone that you could all respond to. A bit like if you were both Vietnam vets and you met at a bar, you could chat about Da Nang or the Tet offensive.
It's exactly like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Man, those helicopters coming over the hill. Fucking
I've
hell,
seen some shit, Reggie. I've seen some shit with my eyes.
Yeah. That woman on Tinder, God.
April 1971 in the Latrine Valley. Me and my guys got cut off. No fire support. And the birds had nowhere to land.
We all had to take a bite of the shit sandwich that day.
Tex was on the M60. And Vito was up front with the grenade launcher. Boy, we came in and cut us to pieces.
Man, this is such a this is like video game writing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I played Mafia Definitive Edition recently, and it's fucking like it was really good. I really enjoyed it, but it's just like it was just filled with Mafia tropes.
Oh,
but
it's so annoying.
The voice acting was just not there. Like they didn't have like good, like I feel like if you're gonna make this like really sort of hammy tropey game, like at least go nuts with the accents, you know what I mean? Like get people in who can do really good, you know, like fucking New York, like Italian New York accents or whatever. But like I don't know, there's just parts of it that just felt like not there. You know, like it just.
I think it's quite often the case.
20 years old.
I know. And like, you know, like the story at the time, I remember playing through it and thinking, this is great. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know, like parts of it, even though like they've redone the graphics and stuff and it looks great and it plays really well and stuff, like parts of it.
You love Mafia.
Have aged,
you love like the Mafia vibe. You love those accents. You want it to be this kind of almost comedic world, almost like it's its own setting, Mafia era stuff, you know, with the when the whiskey was Canadian.
It's been done though, right? All that, like Sopranos has done it well. Like there's been lots of that we've seen all that, but there's so much. There's so many like interesting stories that they could do and stuff, but like I don't know, they always seem to gravitate back towards these really sort of like
gabagoo,
kind of tropey sort of things, you know, like I gotta get out of this life, and like I know that's like a part of it or whatever, but I mean I don't know, it's like I'd be up for something new, you know, like
I'd like to play a Mafia game where you start off as just a lowly lad, just a foot soldier. And
Mafia is like that.
But I want to
start
do
off
jobs
as a driver.
Like, go and collect this money. Go and roust these guys. Go and burn this bar. But it seems like it always very quickly turns into some big thing. Like, I just want to be in the Mafia in the game. Just really boring day-to-day stuff.
Mafia
in a bar, someone says the wrong thing. What do you fucking say about me, huh? Oh, you think you're a big shot, huh? Smash their head in the bar. Go to my car, get a golf club, batter them to death. Hey, motherfucker, don't talk shit about me. Hey, you know.
Yeah, but
just
like
day-to-day
also,
shit.
You know, it'd be good if it was more like open world, open sandbox, but you had to like kick up. Right? Because that's a big thing. You got to make your payments. Like even when you're in the mob, like no matter what level you're at, you're always kicking up to somebody.
Oh, you got to kick up.
If it's light or whatever, that's a problem, right?
And now
like
you borrow
really
some money,
big on,
and then you say the VIG is killing me. The VIG.
Yeah.
The VIG is like the interest.
I know it's a bit light, but I'll get you next week. What the fuck you say to me?
Tony, you still owe me that 10 grand. I haven't forgotten about that. Yeah, I'll get it to you. It's just my horses ain't coming in at the moment. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's always like, it's what amazes me in all of these things.
They lost the spread.
This fucking nag. It threw the race. I don't know what was going on. It's like, why did you're in the hole for money, so you borrow money to bet on horses.
That's the whole point, though. That all the people that are like it seem to be involved or have any affiliation whatsoever always suffer from the same problems, right?
Yeah, they earn money.
Gambling,
it's a Tony.
Like degeneracy, like it's always the same. Like they prey on these people, right? Both to get them in to do the dirty work and to fucking make money off of like as a civilian, right? Like it's always the same types of people. The same people that are going to make these monumental errors of judgment, like in their life. Or
it's like I was watching Casino the other day. You know the film Casino?
Yeah.
Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. I found it on YouTube, oddly enough. The entire film in HD. It's been up for a while. It's just like bizarre. So I just stumbled across that. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll watch this. And there's a bit where he goes to a
actually watching a movie from the
literally watching a whole movie on YouTube. It was so weird. And there's a scene where he goes to a bookie and he wants the money. And he goes in, he goes, hey, you got that thing for me? And he goes, oh, Tony, I thought you was laying it. Thought I was laying it? I ain't laying it. No, I want my money. And he's like, I don't know. I don't understand. You know, and suddenly he's like, how about I put your fucking head through this fucking glass? He's like, okay. And he takes it out. He goes, oh, you just fucking had it right there ready, huh? I was like, it's just literally the guy's day is going around and collecting money that people owe him.
Yeah.
Or lending it to people and saying like, oh yeah, get it back to me whenever you can. Then 1 week later, where's my fucking money? Like, bam, like smacking their heads on stuff. What a life! That's awful.
Oh well, but it is.
How do they keep track of it all?
They just take advantage of people. Like that's all it is. It literally is just taking advantage of people who are just prone to making really shitty choices in life. Like it's the same with like with drug dealers and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they have like regular customers. They know these people can't help themselves or whatever. Well, it's not like they're like, maybe I'm not going to sell this to you today. I want you to get better. No, of course not. Like they just fucking fully take advantage of them. That's all.
It's terrible.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like organized crime for the most part is the same as well. Like look at even now, like all the COVID scams and stuff like that. Like it's all it is. All it is just taking advantage of a situation or stupid people. Like that's all it comes down to.
It's interesting.
And it works.
It almost created a culture of gambling and money lending. But then they, like you said, they take advantage of the people even that are within that.
Yeah.
Like people within the mafia owe money to people who are further up. And
of course.
Get clipped.
Yeah, they set them up.
Amazing.
They stitch them up all the time. Like because they just know, like people can't help themselves, like they're just like, yeah, we know, like I know I'm going to lend money to this guy and he's either going to pay me back way more than I lent him because he's going to win big, or I'm going to fucking almost kill him. To prove a point, sort of thing.
And he's going to be paying me off. The VIG.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like the big thing was they get people in gambling debts and stuff, and they especially like used to go after people who had legitimate businesses. Because then when they owed the money and they had no chance of ever repaying, they'd say, all right, fine, I'll take a cut of your business. And then they would just run all of their fucking rackets through that business and just burn it to the ground, basically. Like, these are people's livelihoods, generations of livelihoods just completely ruined because of just a couple of like fucking scams. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Like their gang wars and stuff are also kind of interesting. And it sort of, it makes sense when you think about it in terms of how you can rob other criminals because they can't go to the police about it, right?
Yeah, well, that was one of the big things in Goodfellas, and in the book especially, was that the mafia is essentially, it's almost like the authority and the police for people that are essentially corrupt and criminals.
Yeah.
So it's a way, it's essentially, let's say I'm running a bar and I'm running it with a bunch of my friends of the mafia and we borrow money, all the rest of it to get it, and it's a pretty shady joint and everything, or a joint, all that sort of stuff. The whole point is, if I have a problem, I can't go to the police. I have to go to the mafia.
Yeah, because what you're doing is already illegal. Right. So they become the police for you.
But they have a set of rules. So it's like, it's essentially a framework for criminality. And so the bookies can run, they're, legitimized by the mafia because that bookie can now operate, and he knows that his debts will be paid, because if they don't, he's kicking up to Big Tony. So essentially, Big Tony is providing the muscle. It's essentially you're paying taxes to the mafia.
Yeah, it's a tax. Yeah,
but
just
if you
like
have a
the
problem,
same way you pay tax for like a service in society. It's the exact same thing. You pay a tax, and they'll help you out if they can, or
and
whatever.
if you go to them and say, look, I would pay you guys this week, but these 5 guys are not paying me their debts. Then they're like, okay, we'll take care of it. And they go to these 5 guys and they collect the fucking debt, and then they get their money, you get your money. That's the framework. Like that's
in
the
an
reason
ideal scenario, yeah. But for the most part, it's like that's not my fucking problem. Where's my money? Like it's, you know what I mean? It's
I
like,
don't know. I think it operated very successfully. I honestly don't think you could operate it on that kind of mindless, give me my money, like regardless. Like, I'm pretty sure that no one would actually work with them. If
it probably wasn't like as widespread. I think that's another sort of tropey thing that appears like in a lot of movies and stuff
huge.
like that. But
you forget how big the mafia was. They
I'm not denying that.
Amount.
I'm saying like the whole mindless, like, give me my money, like without, like there's obviously there is strategy to it and stuff at times where it wasn't just.
I mean, you don't want to put those businesses out. You want that bookie to keep earning. He's a good owner, and he's going to keep being a good owner. I don't want to, we want to keep an eye on him. So they just want to make sure that you're not stiffing them, and they don't stiff you so much that you go under, because they're going to find another bookie.
Yeah.
And that's a pain in the ass.
It's interesting. It's interesting how something like that can be so organized and tight-knit, but at the same time it is very chaotic as well. Like it's a miracle that it ever did work, really, when you think of the people that were involved. It's just the
rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you have rules and a chain of command and everybody understands those rules, even if to all of us, and I would hope everyone listening, you would think, I could never do that. That sounds terrifying. If you're going to be a criminal, at least there's some rules and there's like an understanding of what's going to happen, what's allowed, what's not. And because of that whole made man thing, you can't just go killing another made guy without a good reason. So it's like,
but I mean,
they're not all just killing each other. Of course.
Yeah. It's like it's funny that there was like a code and rules and stuff like that, but they were so often broken. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's something.
Yeah, Yeah, it is
It's more than they would have otherwise.
It is something. I think that's what makes it so interesting for people to, like, from the outside looking in, that there is this structure and this code and these rules and stuff, because then people can kind of identify with it a bit more, you know? But it's like, it's actually really frightening to think that people can do that, though, like organize to that extent outside of like what we see as like a normal organization, right? Like of society or like a company or whatever. But like, I don't know. You think about some companies, they almost operate like the mafia in some ways as well, right? Like when you find out about all these like scams that they've been doing or this and that and the other, and you just think, really, like, I mean, there are loose rules for everybody, but it in a lot of ways, it is kind of a free-for-all out there, right? Like, people
that's what you think.
constantly
you hear
trying to push the limits or get away with something, right? Like,
I mean, look
you
at
hear about
fucking
these big
HSBC.
American corporations.
HSBC is a prime example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, doing illegal stuff internally, you know, because they sort it out themselves. Maybe if someone's done something dodgy, the company will help cover it up, and they don't want it to bounce back on them.
Yeah, of course,
so,
you know what?
like
I was talking to this is when I was in the States. Some older friends. They're not my friends. They're like family friends, and they'd all worked very senior corporate jobs, and they'd retired subsequently. But this company had like a corporate whistleblower had come out and said to the press or to the authorities, like, this is fucking disgusting and illegal, and you need to do something about it. And the company got in big trouble. And I remember all the people I was chatting to about it. It was like 3 or 4 of them, like older. Like I said, they're like my parents' age sort of thing. And they were like, you don't fucking do that. You don't go to the fucking press. Corporate whistleblower. Fucking disgusting. And I was like, geez, that is just like the fucking mob. It's like omerta. You know, you don't talk. It's
you
like,
can
what the
never
fuck?
like.
If you're in a meeting and everyone else is like, okay, we need to do this terrible, illegal, immoral thing to make more
desk
money.
was filled with whistles. I was just waiting for the opportunity to blow the whistle.
every chance I could get.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck these stupid companies.
Where is this corporate loyalty that people have?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense. I've never understood that.
You think the company gives a shit about you?
They have all their own little tricks for keeping people like on board and stuff. We used to, like, at HSBC, there used to be like a share save, right?
Right.
They fucking did away with the pensions because, you know, like, you know, pensions, the way that pensions are going and pension pots and stuff like that. So in the end, they were like, all right, any new people joining the bank won't get a pension anymore, but you could pay into this like share save scheme, which was like a discounted stock in HSBC that you would just like accumulate in your time working there, sort of thing. But it was just like another system for making it more difficult for you to leave the company to go somewhere else, right? They'd hook you in with all these like things that you thought were like, oh, you know, I'm looking at my portfolio and I've got like a couple of grand, where in reality it wasn't a couple of grand, but you just were made to think that it was more money than it was, because it was just another way to get you to shut up and stay put.
You're not wrong.
You know, like,
you know,
and that's just one example. There's millions of things that like companies will do to just keep people under the thumb. You know what I mean? Like, not thinking about going to get another job because they get all these benefits, right? You have all these benefits, so you couldn't possibly, it's too difficult now to go get another job. This is the
good stuff, though, you're talking about. The bad stuff is like all of the ideas that, you know, you've signed these NDAs and we'll sue you or you'll go to prison.
Oh, yeah, those are the worst ones, yeah.
You know, or like, you know, those ideas, or you know, like we'll make it so you can never get another job, and that's very hard if you're, you know, if you've got a family to support or if you've got any obligations to support. No one, you know, most people are being held on the thumb just by that. You know, and they're good people too. These people, I'm sure that there's tons of good people who are willing to bend their morals to pay to feed their family.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think this is it, isn't it? And a lot of the time, not everyone knows the full picture. You know, these guys have maybe seen a few memos that so that a company is doing something dodgy. You know, Big Tobacco is a good example of that, where, you know, these tobacco companies knew that nicotine was addictive and that it caused cancer and all these things for 20 or 30 years. Before it sort of was all, the whistle was all sort of blown on it by a couple of people who were disgruntled ex-employees, you know, who had collected evidence over a long period of time in case they were ever fired, and then risked their lives and future careers, to
I mean, it happens
out, which is
it happens
terrible, really.
in the games industry. It happens there. Like, look at like Blizzard recently, where people like employees of Blizzard were banding together to release information about how they weren't being even paid like competitively in the industry, like lower pay than most other studios. And this, like, Blizzard's a big name, a big company, right?
Oh, yeah.
You'd expect that these guys that are making these fucking awesome cinematics and these big, $1 billion games like that, rake it in like WoW and Hearthstone would be getting paid at least industry standard, but it's not even the case. Like there's this whole thing where it was like they were being paid low, and it was on purpose too. There was like memos from people saying like, we're not willing to fucking pay like the standard rate or whatever, like we're gonna pay low, but we're gonna offer all these benefits instead and all this shit. And it's just like, all right, well.
But I think people are willing to work at Blizzard and take that, though. It's almost
like
the management have been like, well, look, you're basically working for Disney, so you get to come to the park every day and hang out with Mickey Mouse. So why would we even pay you at all?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you should be happy to be working here at all. I think that's a big thing that companies have, is they think you should be so fucking delighted that they are even talking to you, let alone that you're working there. What are you complaining about money? What, you're only here for the money? I thought you liked the
I'm just
company.
amazed. I'm amazed that that these companies like Blizzard don't feel the need to, or even they've got an obligation to the people who did the work.
I'm not in it for the money at all. I could care less about my own financial situation. I'm in it so that you can achieve your dream. That's why I'm in it. Yeah, like, what the fuck?
That's what you need to say in the interview.
Of course I'm in it for the fucking money. Like, what? I wouldn't fucking leave my bedroom if I didn't need money. I would just fucking sleep all day and eat and whatever, Like, I'm here for any reason other than making money. Like, fuck off. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know where companies get this idea that you're actually meant to really like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That working for a company means that you're essentially now part of some family, and you can't turn your back on them or criticize them or question them, because how could you? We've deigned to employ you, and now you want us to treat you decently? Oh my god! I can't even look at you right now. It's like, what the fuck? Like, any company I've ever worked for, apart from obviously when I worked with you guys, I can't fucking stand them. Like, on the whole, I know that all it takes is one fuck up or one downturn in profit. Who do you think they're gonna fucking fire him? They're not gonna say, "Oh, we couldn't fire him." No, we like him too much. It's like, no. Sorry, we need to make some cuts. You're gone. They don't fucking care. There's no loyalty from the company to the employee.
No.
Why the fuck should the employee have loyalty to the company? I do not understand it. If you want to demonstrate loyalty to your employees, good luck, and that's awesome. And I think that's how you actually build loyalty in employees.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna fucking pay them the least you can, give them the minimum benefits that you can, and then be amazed when they're not happy and want to leave, go fuck yourselves, companies.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking to.
Hey, on the topic of Blizzard, though, did you guys hear that that Mike Morhaime is back in the saddle? He's created another company now that he's left Blizzard. Obviously,
who is he?
Sure,
a while back, the CEO, co-founder of Blizzard, who left a while back, didn't really say much at the time. Just said, it's time for me to leave or whatever. A lot of people speculated that he wasn't happy with the whole Activision thing or whatever, but nothing really was said. And then a couple of weeks ago, he's announced that he started a new company with a whole bunch of ex-Blizzard alumni, like some pretty big names, people that have worked on some of their bigger projects. And there's 2 studios apparently working on stuff as well. And a lot of people are pretty excited that this could be the return of the Blizzard that everybody once knew and loved, that is not really loved much anymore, sort of thing. Like,
I think any company that gets that big and has that much success is inherently going to be taken over by management and middle management running things into the fucking ground.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things with this. The first one being that I don't think there's ever been a I've left Blizzard to start my own company, and it's been a success. Like most like Hellgate London. There's what's Torchlight. There's a whole bunch of games that were meant to be sort of like, oh, these are all ex-Blizzard guys. These games are going to be great. That I don't know if they were good, and I never played them, but I mean, certainly they don't seem to be popular nowadays or played.
I think one issue a lot of the time is that just like it's not often that you get an author or a director whose career spans 40 years or whatever, and they continually output really good stuff all that time.
Yeah,
it's just really fucking hard. There is a limit to how much people can do. And I just feel like, especially with games,
if you're following like a rote script and a plan that has been made before, then it's going to be something like Cyberpunk announced last year that they were not going to have a crunch for Cyberpunk. And they just said yesterday or whatever that there's going to be, it's crunch from now on, right? And so they went back on their thing because obviously the game's not finished, but they've got this huge team now, CD Projekt Red. I think originally it was, it's a relatively small company, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10, 20. I don't know how many guys made the first Witcher game, but certainly not very many. And then, it grew and grew and grew and bloated and bloated and bloated. And you look at companies like Riot Games that make fucking League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically done, but they have 5,000 people working for them. And 10 of them are recruiters to get new people in. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, with all those people?
Just announced like 4 games last year, but I don't know if any of them...
Fair enough. And each of them has 150 or 200 people on them. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm sure that's how many people they need. Whatever, right? Fuck it. But... I just feel like those people are not being part of that process. You can't be when you can't feel like you're invested in that product, right?
Yeah.
You're just a cog in the machine. You're just a guy animating a snail, right? You can't feel like you're invested in the product. You have those people have no share in how the overall success of that. I feel like the passion that you see from an indie developer, or 1 or 2 indie developers making a game, and they make some incredibly amazing, really polished, really detailed, rich, full of life games that we don't see from AAA studios putting $2 to $20 million and 200 people in a complex out in somewhere in America where they all have free fucking dinner parties on barbecues on the lawn every day together to try and make them all happy and get them excited about your product, which you're underpaying them for or whatever. I don't know. Like, I like the idea of a cooperative thing. I like the idea of John Lewis or whatever, who at least give a profit share to their employees. And that's what we do at Yogs. Like, we have 10% profit share for the last 3 years, which is basically 10% of all profits is split between staff. And it's like, I think it makes people feel like, or at least I think it actually gives people back a proportion of the success that they have created at the end of the day. Like, as much as I somehow owed all of the money that, because I created the company, I don't do any of the fucking work, really. I
at least you're honest.
And I feel like, I think that's like something that we can actually... Can you imagine if big companies like Amazon or Blizzard or anyone gave any % profit share back to their employees, how much money that would be? I think if Blizzard gave a 1% profit share, every employee would probably get $10 million fucking dollars. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, well, maybe not that much, but it's a huge, they make so much money, some of these companies.
It's nuts.
It's true.
And on a relatively small staff basis. And I feel like it wouldn't kill them to thank the people who've done the fucking work that's made them that money. I don't know.
It's a weird. It's a fluid thing, though, right? Like, I think you got people who would. It's almost like it's like a perfect storm sometimes. Sorry, I'm like trying to explain this, but I'm struggling a bit. I think with like some big games that you've seen in the past, like like the original StarCraft, or like even WoW when it came out. Some of these hugely popular games where it's just the right place at the right time, right? And the right people too. You had people who maybe that's the first game they ever worked on, and they had a lot of inspiration from another game. The game came out at the right time, it filled a niche or whatever. Like, there's probably like 10, 20 sort of like lucky things that happen with a game and the team that's making the game or whatever. And then I think when that game ships and it's out and it's done really well, these people then go down in history. Like they obtain this legendary status as like, this guy designed this game. This is the best game. Can't wait to see what he does next. And then he does another game and it just stinks, right?
Do you think part of that is because games, if you think about it, I know that
I think it might be the difficult second book, though.
No, I don't even think it's that.
Sips.
I just think
the
that
difficult second book.
Like you look at the guys that did
you're of your time. Like if you make a game that's groundbreaking and fantastic 20 years ago, and you're still making that game 20 years later, it's now dated.
Yes.
Like you need to suddenly have a completely fresh, brand new idea.
And you get that a lot too. You get
that's
people,
really hard.
They interview designers from like 20 years ago, and it just seems difficult for them to keep up with like what's happening now. You know, they're sort of like, they've got this idea of what they want to do, and maybe they've never done it. They've worked on other projects or whatever. But then you read this interview and you're like, fuck me, man, this guy's ideas are like literally 20 years old. Like you can tell like he is the designer of that time.
I completely see this though, right? Like there's this thing that happens where people sometimes their best years are when they're passionate and their first projects and they've got motivation.
Yes.
You know, it's like they're like they're fresh out of uni or school or wherever they are, and they're like keen to make a mark on the world, and they've got ideas and they know how the world works, and they're sort of peak of like it's like a young footballer, you know, in their early 20s. They're like they've got it. They'll be the best they ever are, like mentally, physically, and they know what the world's like. They're in touch with everything, and the mood and the general people, and they're also like somewhere in the middle as well of like the young people who really drive stuff and the older people who are going to adopt it eventually, or at least they know that in their product of their time, and they know what the world needs, and they make these amazing things, and they're the people who drive innovation. But once they've done that big thing,
it's hard for them to follow up again after.
I think it's very hard because they're successful. They sometimes like they've made the mark. They're secure. They've got other priorities in life. They don't need to do it anymore. They're not motivated in the same way. And like I do think it's like if you've had a book that's been a success and everyone wants you to write another one, and you're like, cool, man, I'll write another one, but you haven't been thinking about that book for 5 years and planning it through in your head and coming up with it, and you're like, I can do another one, sure. The other one was easy, you know, because it was easy, because it was easy, because you'd had all this build up to it, you know, you'd had infinite time often. Like when is someone going to come to a publisher and say, I've had an idea for a book, give me a year to write it. I've not thought about it at all up until now, but I'm going to do it. You know, and that's often what it is.
It's like, I can see that for sure. I mean, I don't think in every case that is the case, but I think that's a lot more common than not.
I mean, if you look at bands as well, how many bands' first couple of albums were like amazing, and then nothing they've done since then was really particularly good. There are so many bands whose first album was
band
amazing.
lifespans as well. You know, you think of some of like the really big bands, like even big bands from like the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. Most of them were only together for about 5-10 years or whatever, which is really it's a long time, but it's really a short amount of time when you think how long it takes to spin up and get popular and reach the heights and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, most of those big bands had, like, I mean, the Beatles, how long were they together for? Like 10 years? Like and they were like the biggest band of all time
to late 60s. Yeah, but
and then
their
they were
output
like,
was insane though.
Yeah, but they're like, we're done. Like, they're finished. They know that there's just isn't the spark there anymore. They can't write more music together. Yeah, they've run out.
Well, there was lots of like
people think it's infinite, but resources are finite. Even the human imagination.
Well, it's finite. Not just that, but people are just people, right? The egos get in the way. They had lots of internal conflicts with each other about all these little things that just started turning into bigger things,
and those little things become the focus. Whereas when you're starting out, the focus is, we've got no food.
We have nothing. Yeah, we have nothing, and we're just happy to be doing this thing together. Like, it's really weird, isn't it? But you can see how, like when the Beatles started out, they were in their, late teens, early 20s sort of thing. And then their career brought them into like their sort of early to mid 30s, if you like. And you do a lot of growing up in that decade of your life, right? Like you change a heck of a lot. Like I got married when I was 23. I was talking to my wife about this the other day. We got married when we were 23. And even from 23 to 31, when we had like our first child, fucking so much changed in those years. And it was only like 7-8 years, but like it was like night and day. Like because you do just become more of an adult as adult things start creeping in, right? All of a sudden you have to be financially responsible. You have to like feed yourself. You have to feed somebody else. You have to prepare things. You have to plan stuff. Like you get a lot more complacent with certain things. Like
I think as well you get better at making decisions.
You have
like
way more energy.
Some of the things we did
first.
when we were younger, I think, what were we thinking? And then now I think, the decisions that we make, the larger decisions, whether it be for, the house or financially or all kinds of, from that big stuff down to smaller things, you just start to get a better idea of, like, you've just got more experience. You know how to not get ripped off. You know what you're looking for when it comes to even simple things like we need to get some building work done. You just get smarter about those fine details of life. And I think, well, definitely when I was in my 20s especially, I did all kinds of dumb shit. I was really unhappy. Like I had some great times and I enjoyed the complete absence of, like, at the weekend I can remember sleeping until like fucking midday sometimes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And just thinking I have no reason to get up today, so that's cool.
I think like maybe once or twice since we've had kids, I've slept until like 11. Like I've just been I've been lucky.
Very,
like
very
my wife has just left me to it or whatever. And even then when you wake up, you're like, oh fuck, this is great. I woke up at 11. But actually all the shit I have to do is still waiting for me to do it. I just have less time to do it in now. So like your whole day, you're just catching up so that everything.
Do you
can
remember
be
that
done.
thing your mum would always say, get up, you're wasting the day. And you'd be like, yeah, I mean, it's mine to waste. Don't tell me when to wake up. And then you realize when you're a grown up, it's midday.
You shouldn't feel bad. You're an adult now. You don't have to do what your mum says.
No.
There's no shoulds
right,
in
but the
adulthood.
point is, Lewis, that she
you
was
want to
right.
eat a fucking burger.
She
no
was
one's
right.
gonna fucking.
Yeah, that's the point. The point is
fucking,
you don't want your parents to ever be right about stuff, like when they're trying to.
She wasn't right, really, because like everyone, you got to understand, like everything you do is not a waste of time. It's contributing to something different.
Not sleeping and missing out on a whole bunch of things that I needed to do.
Yeah, but maybe you needed that rest. Maybe that rest is going to mentally recharge you, so you approach a different task at a different pace. Like, I think I'm not saying you should wallow in your depression and slob out in bed all day, but I think that don't feel bad for the decisions you make. Sometimes they lead you to places that are okay or better. You don't know, again, like where these things are how these things are gonna work out. Do you?
No.
Well, are you basically saying let the chips fall where they may? Everything will work out in the end.
Everything does end up where it is.
Specifically does not.
Are you saying in a roundabout way you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them?
I believe that's what he's saying.
And know when to walk away when the dealing's done.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I think be smart, be sensible. But respect yourself as well. Look after yourself.
Don't
beat yourself up, guys.
Keep your peckers up.
Don't beat yourself up. We're living in this world where everyone's like, oh, don't throw away that milk bottle. That'll fucking kill a pigeon, and this dolphin will just fucking get that stuck in his blowhole and just suffocate. You're killing the ocean. You feel bad. You feel bad all the time. You're like, oh, I shouldn't turn this fucking light bulb in. The planet's burning. Oh, I shouldn't wear this clothes. It's made by someone in a sweatshop in Romania who's underpaid. Oh, I shouldn't buy this game. It's made by these guys who make their guys crunch. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. Like, if you go through this whole fucking life like that, you'll have a miserable time. You just have to
this is the opposite of things you've said
fucking
previously.
roll with it.
Yeah, I think like now you're sort of all the points that you brought up are legit things that you should be trying to model your life around.
Like you've literally given me lectures about things I shouldn't do or should reconsider because of some cost down the line, and now you're saying fuck it all, man. You do you. If it feels good, do it. This is a complete insane switcheroo.
A flip flop.
It doesn't make sense.
A huge flip flop.
So I'm running for president.
Right. Do the closed fist, flat thumb on top.
1 minute
point.
you're like fuck the man, and the next minute you've got your capitalism T-shirt on, and hats.
I think the takeaway is that
make capitalism great again.
With a combined 120 years on this earth, none of us three know how the fuck that we're supposed to live or act or behave or date or chat or eat or recycle. We don't know anything. We don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know when to get up. We don't know when to go to bed. We don't know what we're supposed to do with other people.
I've got all that kind of stuff figured out. Really,
we don't know what our own feelings are. We don't know.
You're speaking for yourself here. I've got most of this stuff figured out, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I've got good.
We know.
I've got good systems in place. You know, like I've got. I got a well-oiled machine over here. I got a fully crewed battleship, and we are ready for war. You know, like
we're all just doing our best.
The whole team just knows how to do their best at all times over here. Like I feel like we got it all sewn up in that department. But when it comes to like Tinder and online dating, I'd say that's a gray area for.
Yeah, we wanted to know more about that, but we have covered it in previous episodes.
Let's hope you won't need to use it.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? I might have a chat with Mrs. F and just be like, can I just go on some dates? Like, nothing will come of it. I just want to see how it goes.
I would love to hear about those trip reports. You will not get a single date, though, I promise you.
Thanks.
That's my you'll swipe up all right, well, let's get you some good pictures. You need a picture of you next to a Ferrari.
No. Like, I'm going to post exactly what you're going to get.
Right.
Okay. No, you should set this up.
I
want to see. I want you to go on
a white bathrobe that has some stains on it and stuff like that you can pose
All
in?
my clothes have stains or holes in them.
I'm wearing a t-shirt right now that I have literally owned for 25 years. I'm not even joking. This t-shirt is 25 years old, and I'm wearing it right now.
Do you open with the line, are we going to have sex at the end of this? Is that a good thing to open with?
No, because you don't want to catfish no one, P-Flax.
No.
You want to be like, you want to open with, I'm looking for just someone as a friend.
A friend? Right? What the fuck?
I think I'd be straight up. I'd be like, I gotta be honest with you here, baby. I just want to explore your hoochie coochie when all is said and done here. That is the goal.
Either we're going to have sex at some point this afternoon, or I'm going to have to get the bus to Bone Town with someone else. That's pretty much how it works.
Right. Well, that'll get you some definite hookups.
Exactly.
But they'll be disappointed when they meet you, P-Flax, that you don't want to go through with it.
Bust a Brown
Go through with what?
Go through with the sex.
No, they won't care. They'll be relieved.
Well, if you've got that far, P-Flax, I will say you're a lot better in real life because you're a big man. You're tall. You got good frame. You know, sometimes when you see someone in 3D, they look better than they are in 2D.
I understand all this flame is coming my way. Oh, we're going to need to get some better pictures done, period, because, you're a big trouble, mate. You won't get any matches. Very, very rude.
Flax, where I think you would really shine in terms of having pictures done? Kind of like Napoleon-esque.
Anywhere with a light source.
You got to get some of those white horse riding trousers with the boots and like a big feathery hat, because I think you got that regal look to you already. I think you could get a pose, and I think the ladies would be swooning if they saw you
riding a horse,
like a modern day Elvis Presley, with a Napoleon outfit on a horse. I think that could work really well for you.
Is golf sexy?
No, not really.
Okay.
Oh shit, no.
Well, I'm playing it. I'm playing today, my first round at 2:00. So wish me luck, gentlemen.
All right.
Good
luck.
I bought my clubs. Got my golf shoes and my golf gloves.
Was this all off the back of PGA 2K21?
Dude, I played PGA and I was like, it just occurred to me that golf might be fun. I quite enjoyed the game, and I was like, I wonder if this would be as fun in real life. Let's find out. So I did the lessons, and at the end of the lessons, they said you can sign up and join the club. If you want to, join the academy. You spend a year as an academy member. You get 10 free lessons with the pro. You can play anytime you like, after 1 p.m. in the week, 2 p.m. at weekends, in you come. And I was like, done. Signed up then and there. Bought a set of clubs. They're sitting right here. I went to the driving range yesterday near me.
What kind of clubs did you get? Titleist?
No. These are just
Wilson
links. It was this whole set of clubs was £300.
Oh,
for a full set, and I thought that was actually pretty good for something I'm going to use for years. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, remember when we were talking about the air conditioning in my garage, and I said that it was like $2,000. You said it was too much.
Yeah, $2,000.
I mean, that's only a couple of sets of golf clubs, really, and you think this is going to keep you comfortable for a long time.
Where did you buy them, by the way?
I bought them from the pro shop at the club to support the club.
Okay. I was talking to Duncan yesterday. He was buying a dog groomer from Amazon, right? And he noticed something weird, that there were loads of these dog groomers. You can just Google it on Amazon, and they're all they've got such weird names, okay? And they all look the same, but they're all like different brands. So one of them is O'Mork, one of them Pet King, Kleeborg, They're all like weird names, okay, and they all look the fucking same. Sminica, do you know what I mean? Go Sophia. They're all Val, like, but they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
From China.
Yeah.
Shipped from China. They all cost like between 20 and 30 quid, right? Which is quite cheap for electric clippers, right? But if you go on like Alibaba, which is the Chinese kind of everything site, you can get them for like 2 quid.
Wow.
Like 2 quid each. And so it's just these Chinese guys or selling them en masse to these sort of third-party resellers, or sometimes just most of them are even now Chinese companies. You can actually see the company. So most of them that I looked at were in China, but some of them are in Lithuania for some reason, or Latvia.
Right.
Don't know why. Maybe there's some tax thing.
I wonder why.
But that's just dog clippers, right? But there's loads of them. Like Rav's got sent a smartwatch by a fan, and I looked that up on Alibaba. How much is like a smartwatch that looks like a knockoff Apple smartwatch? How much do you think
150
it costs to
quid
make one?
it would cost.
To buy, maybe. How much to make? How much to buy on Alibaba?
10 quid.
A fucking dollar.
What?
It's like $1 like a fake Apple Watch that like actually has a screen and you can plug it in and it does stuff and it collects your phone, like a fucking dollar. And I was like, what the fuck? Like the whole world is upside down.
Surely the fucking ingredients in making it cost more than $1.
They must.
Well, this is what I thought.
They have to. Even like just mass manufacturing it, like each thing must cost more than $1 to make.
It doesn't. It clearly doesn't, because they're selling them for like $1.50 for like 100 of them. And so it's like,
are they making on that?
Well, they must be making something, or else they wouldn't be fucking selling it.
This is crazy.
Once you've paid for like the fees and all this stuff, like it's we live in this insane world. So I just wanted to bring that up just because I blew my fucking mind, because I've bought loads of wanky shit on Amazon for like a 10 or 15 quid. Realize it's absolute shit, but it clearly has come from these resellers, and it's been made for a fucking penny.
Can I go on Alibaba and order stuff?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can order 10 dog groomers for $2 each.
Fuck me, man.
And fucking,
that's crazy.
For the same price as you ordered one off Amazon. It might take a while to arrive.
That's an hour and 20, lads. We should probably give it a rest for today.
All right, that's enough podcast.
I'll let you know
anyway,
how my golf went next week.
Into that.
Okay, yeah.
We'll let you know about the golf.
Keep us posted.
I just wanted to share that madness at the end because it blew my mind. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.